as I said, crops in Victoria could be rotting in paddocks, fruit left on the trees, grape on the vine, all of that. Another victim of this pandemic. As the spring and summer harvest approach, an estimated 40,000 fewer backpackers and 4,000 fewer Pacific Islanders than usual are available to work. Closed international borders and some of the issues with state borders mean the flow of seasonal workers usually available to pick and pack all of these items has all but dried up. Michael Rogers is the Chief Executive of the Australian Fresh Produce Alliance. He joins me now from Melbourne. I tell you what, Michael, it's a real worry. I was reading material about this today and it just underscored all the issues we have. I mean, we ordinarily, outside of this very difficult period, have a lot of Australians, unemployed Australians, unwilling to do this work. So we're heavily reliant on people that come across borders. How on earth is it going to work out this time round?
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Look, it is a real challenge. And as you say, over a long period of time, Australia has become more and more reliant on international workers. And, there's a whole range of reasons for that, which we can unpack. But where we stand right at the moment is there would normally be about 80,000 people working in our industry. About 50,000 of those are working holiday makers. And, that the number continues to decline, as you say. We're about 90,000 at the moment, still in the country. But of course, we've got the absolute number of people in the country that's a challenge, but also the border restrictions, the lockdowns. These are increasingly creating challenges that farmers are facing, not just now, but particularly as we move into the spring season, where there'd normally be a large numbers of people moving around to take up those that fruit harvest going into spring.
So we'll get to the economic cost in just a minute, but what's the practical cost here? I mean, literally, does it all rot in the orchards? I mean, what happens to this produce? Because it'll certainly impact people at the supermarkets here, let alone our exports.
Yeah, that's right. So in the worst case scenario, there would be fruit rotting in the fields and not being picked. I mean, we think at the moment the challenge is to secure those workers and be able to move them around Australia. And, industry's working with government to develop solutions. Industry's working right now following the visa extensions earlier this year that the federal government secured to make sure that now we can move forward and move those workers around. So the other element which we need to look to is not just this initial season, but as we move into next year and, conceivably more and more backpackers go home, it will still be difficult for seasonal workers to come to Australia. We have the short-term issues leading into spring, but we also need to plan forward as part of the recovery and work out, what are we going to do? Are more Australians going to pick up harvest work? Because in the past it hasn't been attractive because often the work is short-term in particular regions. It's a great way to see Australia, but it doesn't mean moving around quite a lot.
Yeah, it was the best job you could get as a uni student, but I don't think many uni students, well, it was in my day, I don't think many uni students are into it now. I think that's a sad reaction or reality we face. What's your plan then? How do we get around this?
Yeah, look, so that's the challenge. In the short term, we're looking with the larger employers, the larger companies, the large labour hire providers, which typically support smaller farmers as well to move people around. It's about understanding where the people are, where the jobs are, and it's a very practical approach in trying to work out if workers would normally move from Victoria to Queensland, are there workers available in those states already that can pick up that work rather than move necessarily across so many borders?
Michael, can I just jump in there? Michael, are you being impacted by JobKeeper and JobSeeker being at high rates, meaning people aren't taking these jobs?
Yeah, certainly. We have seen an impact of JobSeeker and JobKeeper, and we expect that the changes, from the federal government coming up on those payments, that they will, encourage workers to take up work in other industries. And I mean, we can certainly understand that workers to this point have been looking to stay with their families during these really difficult times. But we expect increased inquiries from Australians for work as, there are changes to JobSeeker and JobKeeper.
Well, good luck, Michael. We all expect it in the supermarket, as you know, but it's got to get off the tree and out of the paddock and get to us. So all the best to you and your farming community. Michael Rogers, thanks for your time. Thank you very much.